Welcome back to another Sunday prep day. As every Sunday, a prep for the week, so I'm gonna cut all my vegetables, and I'm also gonna make a few things that take a little bit longer. So I'm gonna make a soup today, a roasted pepper and tomato soup, and I'm gonna make some pickled onions, and I'm going to soak some chickpeas so they're ready to go. But I did preheat my Ninja Foodi on grill, the highest it goes, and here I have some of these pointy peppers, a bunch of these pearl tomatoes, and 2 chilies. So I'm just gonna roast those, and I'll just start with those so they're done by the time I'm done with my chopping. So they probably need 20 to 30 minutes. I'm gonna start with 10 so I can flip everything around so the skin on the peppers blackens, so it's easier to peel. So another thing I'm going to do now before I forget, I have some chickpeas, dried chickpeas. I have some water. And those are just going to soak. So tomorrow when I have some vegan curry, I can put those in. So yeah, let's get started with chopping, and we will go over the meal plan. So for Sunday, as usual on Sunday, I'm going to have some sandwiches, have some whole wheat sandwiches, have some roasted pork. I still have some lettuce or spring mix I'll put on there as well. And if you are new here, I am diabetic. I have to cut some carbs, so I don't usually have carbs for lunch. That was just the easy way for me to do it. But on the weekend, I do have my cheat days where I have sandwiches because I do like sandwiches, and they're just very convenient. So, and a cheat day every now and again just makes it easier to stay with the program. So, I'm just going to put this in a big container because that's where I'm gonna get the rest of my soup ingredients. So, then I'm gonna cut up these red onions. I have 2. I'm gonna cut them into half rings, part for some pickled onions and part for a bunch of other things. So I'm just going to slice this in half rings and put that directly in my jar so I can make my pickles in that jar later. But yeah, meal plan Sunday for dinner. I'm gonna do some sauerkraut stamppot. If you don't know what stamppot is, it's a Dutch dish where you mash things together with some potatoes. That's what stamp means. It means to mash. And I'm going to do that with sauerkraut. And I'm going to have some sausages with that. Then for Monday, Meatless Monday, for lunch I'm going to have that roasted pepper and tomato soup that I mentioned. So I'm going to make that today, so tomorrow all I need to do is warm that through. So let me just get this in this jar. And for dinner, I'm going to make a vegan lentil and chickpea curry. If you saw last week's video, you know I made some curry paste, a big batch. So I have some of that left over. That's what I'll use. And I'll have some sweet potato with that as well. Obviously lentils and chickpeas. And maybe some spinach or peas. I have those in the freezer. We'll just see. Okay, let's get that in a container. Then we're on Tuesday for lunch. I'm gonna have some sausages with some cauliflower. I have a whole bunch of cauliflower, so that should be good. Then for dinner, I do Taco Tuesdays. I'm gonna have some sausage quesadillas. So I'm just gonna take the sausages out of their casing, and I'll saute those with some onions, some peppers, chilies, garlic, some of these spring onions probably. So, and then For Wednesday for lunch, I'm gonna do some stuffed pepper. So that's again sausage meat with a bunch of veggies, not peppers probably, because that's it's already gonna be in a pepper. But the chilies, garlic, onions, some shredded carrot, all those kinds of things. So I have a couple of cloves of garlic. 3 of these I'm just gonna throw in whole for my soup, since that's gonna cook down. I don't really need to chop it. And then for things like my quesadillas and my whatchamacallit, my stuffed peppers, I'm gonna mince up some garlic cloves. So Wednesday for dinner, I'm gonna do some burgers. I had some burger buns that I bought, and they need to be used up. So that will be 2 meals this week. One, I'm gonna do some burgers. I haven't decided yet if I'm gonna do beef, or I also have some ground chicken in the freezer. I could do that as well, because those really hit the spot last time. So, you know, maybe we'll just see. And then let's get rid of the tops. Just gonna give these a rough chop for my soup. What is next? So for Thursday for lunch, I'm gonna do some Brussels sprouts because I have some Brussels sprouts left over. I'm gonna saute them with some bacon and lots of veg. So again, peppers, chilies, onion, garlic, some carrot. So like a little stir fry basically. That can also go in with my soup ingredients. And another thing to go with my soup ingredients is this carrot. Just take the tip off. I'm not gonna bother peeling them. It's just not worth my time. So I'm just gonna cut it in half, cut it in quarters, and slice that up. That's for my soup. So that can go in my soup ingredients. And then next up, I have my julienne slicer. You can use a grater as well, but I want some julienne or fine shredded carrot for my stuffed peppers and for my Brussels sprouts. So I'll just do that real quick. And these are really big carrots. I'm just going to do about the equivalent of one normal size carrot. And that should be enough, and the rest I'll just save for another time. And then I also have some parsley. I used most of the leaves last time, but the stems have a lot of flavor, so I'll use those in my soup as well. But I'm going to leave those whole because I don't want all that green in my lovely red, dark red roasted pepper and tomato soup, you know what I mean? So I'll just leave that whole so I can fish them out when they've served their purpose of giving the flavor. But yeah, we were on Thursday for dinner. I'm gonna have some chicken sandwiches, so I'm going to what am I gonna do? I'm gonna take some chicken thighs, and I will coat them with some gochujang, and then some panko breadcrumbs. I'll have them with some pickles. I still have some pickled cucumbers from last week, and I'll also make some pickled red onions. So that would go nicely with that. I have some spring mix. So, but yeah, I'll just make those in my air fryer, those chicken things. So, this sweet potato, by the way, is for my curry. So again, cut in half and just slice that up. Then we were on Friday, Fish Friday. For lunch, I'm gonna do some salmon with some cauliflower. And then for dinner, I'm gonna do some fish tacos. So I'll do some breaded fish, again with panko breadcrumbs probably. I'll do the spring mix. I'll do some pickled onions, maybe some pickled cucumbers if I have them left over, and if I don't have enough pickled cucumbers left over, I'll do some fresh cucumbers. I have some in the fridge, but I'm not going to prep those now. and I'll make like a crema with some, I have some Greek yogurt still, some mayo, some lime, that kind of stuff. So, before we go on to the next thing, let's check the peppers and the tomatoes. So, the peppers are starting to blacken, so I'm gonna flip them around so the other side gets some color as well. And I'll do another 10 minutes, and after that we'll see how long it needs. Peppers. So I have these red and yellow, and I'm just going to cut them in half and take the seeds out. Then I need 2 halves for my stuffed peppers, so I'll just get 1 red, 1 green, just because I can. I have the different colors, so why not take advantage of that? And then the other halves I'm gonna dice up, and I'm gonna use that in my quesadillas, in my Brussels sprouts, and all that stuff. So cut them lengthwise, cut them across to make a nice fine dice, and I'll do the exact same for the red as well. Is peppers done. Next I have some chilies again for the quesadillas, for the Brussels sprouts, for the stuffed peppers. I do love me some chilies. So I just have these cayenne. I'm not going to bother taking the seeds out because they're honestly not that spicy. And I'm just going to slice them up, and I just have red, orange, green, different colors. Just have different colors really. They don't really taste that much different. But I like having a bunch of colors. Then next up, let's do some potatoes. I have small potatoes, so I'm going to do 3. These are for my sauerkraut, so I just need to peel them and cut them into chunks. That is potatoes done. Then next up, I have some of these cherry tomatoes. Those are going to go in my curry. I'm just going to cut them in half so they cook down a little bit easier. And if you're using bigger tomatoes, just quarter them. Alright, then next up I have some cauliflower, and I need about 2 portions worth. So I'm just going to get some florets off. I'm leaving it on the stem because I'm not going to use the whole thing, and if I leave it on the stem, it's going to last a lot longer in the fridge. So I'm just going to rip some of these florets off, and I'll just cut those into bite-sized pieces. And my Ninja Foodi is done. Let me check real quick. The skin has started to blacken more. I need a little bit more, so I'm just going to move some things around, and I'll do 5 more minutes. That should do the trick. And I'll just keep working on my cauliflower. And then last for chopping, I have a whole bunch of these Brussels sprouts, and I'm just gonna cut them in half, take the loose outer leaves off, and those will be for Thursday. So if you have bigger Brussels sprouts, you can quarter them, but these are all pretty small. And a quick time check, we're at 25 minutes. So I'm going to clean up a bit, and when these are done, I'm just going to let the peppers and stuff cool down a little bit more so I can peel them. I'll clean things up, and then I'll make the soup, the pickles, etc. I've preheated my Ninja Foodi on saute. I'm just going to add a bit of oil, and that pan is nice and hot. So now I'm just going to add my celery, carrots, onions, and garlic. And I'll add a bit of salt as well, and some pepper. And I'm just going to let that soften a bit. In the meantime, here I have some plain white vinegar. I'll add a little splash of water, a little bit of salt, and some sugar. I don't want to make it overly sweet, but you need a little bit of sugar to cut that acidity. And I'm just going to let that come up to a simmer so that all the sugar dissolves. Then it's ready to pour over my onions. That needs to soften. My peppers still need to cool down a little bit, So back in a moment. Actually, I don't have too many peppers, so while they're still a little bit too hot to comfortably handle, I'm gonna take the skin off real quick while I'm waiting. The skin comes off really easily because everything is blackened. And now that my vegetables have softened, I'm going to add in my tomatoes, peppers, and chilies. So I peeled the peppers and the chilies and the tomatoes. I just took the vines off, but I left those whole. So I'm going to pour everything in with the juice. You really want the juice because that has a lot of flavor. So I'll just give that a moment to cook through. Everything is already cooked, but I need it to hang out for just a moment before I finish that because this has also come to a simmer. All the sugar has dissolved. And I'm just going to pour that over my pickles. Now you don't have to fill this all the way to the top, but you have to make sure that all the onions are completely submerged. So, and the acid will leach out all the red from the onions, so they will turn pink. But yeah, that needs to cool down, and I'm just going to grab my pressure cook lid and that kind of stuff so we can finish the soup. So for the soup, I'm going to add my parsley stems. They're just going to just go on top. They're just for flavor. I'll add a bit of water, then I will put my pressure cook lid on, make sure the valve is closed, and most of this already cooked through, so this should be like 20 minutes on a pressure cook. So we'll be back when that's done. Oh, and you can already see the pink has started to leach out from the onions, so that will be a nice vibrant pink color. When the soup is done, I'm just going to fish out my parsley. It's right at the top and the stems are whole, so it's really easy to take out. And then I'll just take my stick blender and blend this up. And that just needs to cool off now, so I can put that in a container and put that in the fridge. So that is ready to go for tomorrow. I'll just need to warm that through. And that's all the prep work done for this week. I can now have lunch or dinner on the table in minutes. And if you like this kind of content, I do this every single Sunday. And if you'd like to see what I ultimately eat, you can check out my Instagram where I post every single meal, or you can check out the video that I post about once a month on here where I show you everything I eat in a day for a whole week. And if you want to follow along on Instagram in the same carousel where you'll see the before and after of my prep, you'll also find my meal plan written out and all the ingredients that I'll be using and what I prepped and everything like that. So if that all sounds good to you, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Until next time, bye for now.